were about to.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have one thing I want to do before we long rest, though.
Because I remember saying I was going to throw up a
No, don't do
What do you
that.
call
It's
it
okay.
again?
You don't have to be sick.
These are the
It's okay. I think
jokes.
that's funny.
I have a spell I want to cast, but it's got a casting time of an hour before we want a long rest. Hero's Feast.
You want to do well. Hero's Feast lasts for 24 hours, right?
Right. So I want to do it so I can get the spell slot back after we long rest.
Look at this guy.
'Cause it'll.
Look
Yeah,
at you
kind of
mixing
thinking.
it and stuff.
Yeah, we'll probably have like 16. No. I can't
It'd be
math today.
8 hours off, so it would be
Because
yeah,
Be
16-ish.
if you're trying to
15.
subtract.
yeah, I was like, I can't math today. My brain is mush.
I actually did math at work today. It was hilarious to me.
Are you okay? Did you hurt yourself?
I had to subtract one big number from another big number to tell somebody why the way that they were doing something was wrong. I was like, excuse me, while I open the calculator app and explain why you were wrong.
I repeat my question. Are you okay? Did you hurt yourself?
Ray took 10 brain damage.
Yeah. Emotional damage. Did you
Grim
know
rolls
that?
for intelligence. It was a 6.
Did you know that 1.3 million is 300,000 more than 1 million? Can I show you this mathematically so that you understand that is roughly a 30% difference in how many things you're dealing with?
Can I math this thing for you?
Well, I have this bad habit of occasionally giving really pithy answers to people, and then I realize that's not appropriate in the workplace.
No, I can't ever see that happening.
So then I'll write a second email that's the actual technical or mathematical explanation for why I'm being so snide or whatever. Anyway, great personal habit. Anyway, cool. So we are in this lair of this lichen lady. Does anybody remember what's going on?
So we cleared out a kitchen, we checked out the water, and then we came to this room that Thunderwing didn't want to know about, and took out, I think it was 2B here. And there was a fog on the ground, but the fireball kind of took care of the fog. And that's as far as we got. And we decided that we were going to long rest because we're all beaten up and out of spells.
Yeah.
Well, I'm assuming because we're long resting, I can delete all these templates without causing undue problems.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm going to throw up Liam's tiny hut when we long rest.
Sucky roll.
Oh, no. Oh.
Well, the good news is it increases all our hit point maximums.
Yay.
And our hit points.
Yay. We're long resting, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Are we doing a new day or?
Do you have an ability that requires the sun to move, or does it just say once per long rest?
I don't think I have any abilities that have any any reliance on resting.
Okay.
Even spell slots don't even have those.
I'd guess. Oh man, y'all are gonna make me do the time thing again. This is like when we were in the tomb and I had to figure out how to keep time. Let me pull up the calendar. Simple calendar. What day is it? It is the 9th of Marpanoth.
Yes. The 9th of Marpanoth.
Which is a fall month.
What a good day.
I know this calendar.
Well, here we go. Have you ever heard the months of... here are the months. Tarsak, Greengrass, which is a single day. Myrtle, Kythorn, Flame Rule, Midsummer, which is one day. Shieldmeet, which is another day. Eliasis, Elint, High Harvesttide, and now we're in Marpanoth. Then there's Uktar, the Feast of the Moon, Nightall, Hammer, midwinter, and there's like 5 winter months.
Gosh,
Jesus.
those, yeah, I'm familiar with those because those are mentioned a lot in the D&D novels. Well, the Forgotten Realms novels.
Yes.
Green grass is the holiday of the goddess Xanthoria. Midsummer, it's like Midsummer's Eve, things like that, you know.
I have to point
Harvesttide, so
out.
on and so forth.
I have to point out, every time I see Chantea, I feel like it's a stripper name. And it confuses me.
She used to be a greater deity, but they kept downgrading her. And then in 4E, they made her some kind of aspect of another god that's so stupid.
Yeah, well,
but
4E generally made a mess of everything.
Yeah.
let's go pack it up to the Nentir Vale, boys. Okay, it doesn't matter. I'm gonna,
So-
yeah. I actually
So
started
everybody
reading the
should-
4E books.
Yeah.
Oh, I've
Everybody
actually
should
started
add
reading
7 hit points to their hit point max and their hit points.
Yeah, I've been reading the Drisdorden Chronicles.
I'm at the rule books for 4E. Somehow a couple months ago, found a boxed set of the 4E first version, and I've been slowly reading it.
Well, let me explain
Wow.
how many rule books I've ever read. 0.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I would be doing less. So you're welcome.
Okay. Cool. So anyway, I'm gonna move it to the 10th of Marpanoth just for funsies. So we move forward a day because you guys have been down here a while. We'll just call it the next day. Yeah. So where in here, how, what do you want to long rest? How you all? That was a great sentence.
I don't even know what you just said.
How do you want to do your
It's
long
that 10
rest?
points of brain damage.
It's that 10 points of brain damage I took from doing math. I also had a 3-hour commute this afternoon. It was terrible.
Why do you?
Anvar
live
will
so
do the
far
Hero's
from where you
Feast first.
So you do the Hero's Feast.
And then we'll do either Teresa or Anvar would ritual a tiny hut.
Yeah, I'll do the tiny hut.
I think. Don't you have one that doesn't even need to be a ritual, Teresa? Don't you have like an actual one or something?
Yeah,
Ritual just
so
makes
with
it.
ritual, it just means that it takes longer to cast, but you don't use a spell slot. You use a spell slot if you want to cast it right away.
Oh, okay. I
I'll
just
invite-
misunderstood what was happening every time you've used that tiny hut is all.
Anvar would include Thunderwing in the Hero's Feast.
She partakes of it. Like kind of tastes it, and then she seems grateful, but it doesn't seem like she eats much of it. Not anything against you. She just doesn't seem to have any appetite, and so she just kind of like pokes at some of the food.
Okay. Oh, that's
Mechanically,
worth a
it
try.
doesn't really matter, but
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you tiny hutting right in this little cave area here?
Do we think the fog's going to come back, or in the hallway there was no fog, but the fog caused exhaustion by being in it?
Fuck me up. That was.
Yes, the fog, when you failed to save against it, caused a level of exhaustion.
So maybe we should do it in the hallway.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd rather not sleep in some.
Shit that causes exhaustion. Yeah.
Yeah.
Why is a combat
That
timer
seems,
going?
that seems like a terrible combination. Has the combat timer been running since we played last? Because that's a long fucking combat.
I don't know. I realized that combat bar was going across the bottom of my screen. So that's not good. Okay. So does anybody want to do anything else before you long rest in your Leoman's tiny hut?
No.
Okay. You have a
We'll change my spells while you're talking, so yeah, go ahead.
a creepy night or night-like time in your tiny hut. Over the course, you guys notice that the mold and the mycelium on the floor ever so slightly starts encroaching up on around the edge of the tiny hut, almost growing against the magical barrier. It doesn't make its way through, but just reinforces that this cave is full of some sort of very fast growing magical fungal something. I have all the words right now. But I think besides that, uh, the rest passes without any other incident.
Good.
Excellent.
So I wake up feeling amazing in this dank dungeon.
I wake up feeling not as shitty, so that's good. Because I was, like approaching death.
Anvar
Anyway.
was beating up pretty good too.
Teresa is same as always. She is a little concerned about the mold growing faster than she first assumed.
I suppose better than the vines that tried to cover the hut. In the last place we did a hut.
This is true.
I've always liked in games when you're on the like you have all these spells and mechanics for going about your business, but then if you're on the verge of dying, if you just sleep for 8 hours, you're golden.
It's a very 5e thing.
Oh, yeah.
I've always loved like, oh, let's just. You need some rare potion.
And like hemorrhaging inside. Yeah, no problem. Let's go to sleep for 8 hours.
Just put some tussin on it. You'll be fine in the morning. Just
Rub some
like in the
dirt in it.
moment, you need to do some crazy stuff to fix yourself. But if you just let 8 hours pass, you're fine.
Nailed it.
And of course, I recast mage armor.
Okay.
Did the fog come back while we were asleep?
Let's say no, because I don't really want to deal with the fog. Like, there's little wisps and tendrils of it starting to reform, but not enough that you think there is cause for concern.
Quick question, Ray.
Yeah.
How are you doing? Like I threw a dagger in the last battle, meaning that dagger is definitely out there in the fog. Do you care about that, or are you just assuming I have some sort of endless supply of daggers in the moment?
I mean, I'm assuming you could just go get it.
Right, I guess I exhaust myself finding my dagger.
Oh no, the fog's not there right now.
Yeah. It's just hard baked into the map. I can't take it all.
Okay, well, I'll go get my dagger and come back. All right, never mind.
Someone want to quietly scout out the room before we all, the guy in playmail enter it.
I can sneak in.
I mean, not that we didn't make a ton of noise dealing with the bear, but still.
Yeah. Do you think anybody here doesn't know if you're here at this point? Anyway.
Wait, I need a light though. I need I pull out my torch.
You should have a light. Can you see nothing?
Well, I can see plenty of stuff. I'm just making it known that technically I can't see the dark.
Okay.
Oh, there's a door.
So, Gibbles, as you come into this room, just to kind of describe it, there's a bunch of cages. Now that the fog is gone, you can also see a lot more clearly. These cages are full of, or not full of, but each cage contains various rotting corpses that look wrong. You'd probably have to investigate a given cage to figure out what exactly is going on there. There's also 3 stone slabs/tables in the middle of the room. Some of them are covered in what you assume is dried or old blood. There is a door to the north, and then there is a kind of smooth hewn tunnel going to the southwest.
Seems like a pleasant place. I'd like to investigate one of the cages just to get an idea of what I'm looking at. Sure, it's weird experiments with mushrooms.
Yeah. So in the cage right between you and Teresa, as you look at it, there's a rotting corpse of what looks like a displacer beast, but it's got too many limbs and too many tentacles in kind of protruding out. There's a couple extra legs and a couple extra of the displacer beast tentacles coming off of its back.
Now I'm no doctor, but I'd like to see what kind of effects is causing that. So I know displacer beasts are magical creatures. So can I do like an Arcana check?
To figure out what caused it.
Yeah.
I think you can assume at this point. I don't think you necessarily need an Arcana check, but based on what you know of what you read from Xanthoria's book, from some of the notes and the alchemy supplies, and what you saw with the people suspended from the mycelium above, or in the room to the north, I think, Teresa, you would get a pretty clear idea that these are experiments of hers, kind of trying to use the magic that she somewhat incoherently described within her journal. Does that make sense?
Yeah. She would
Or-
just scoff at
Sorry.
that.
It's I think the other thing is, to you it kind of looks like a weird brute force combination of necromancy and some other form of magic that just doesn't really make sense to you. Something from a different tradition, most likely.
She needs to work on her formulas.
Did somebody else
Anver's
say
going to
something?
do its sweep of the cages to see if one of them contains a fairy dragon.
Yeah, so as you sweep around all the cages, I guess I'll just give the quick descriptions. There's a couple cages with a mix of rotting and mutilated goblin and elf corpses in them. There is a skeleton of another sprite about the size of Thunderwing, dressed in bright but tattered clothing. It looks like it's expired there and was just left to rot. And then there is a cage that has a yellowed skeleton of a tiny dragon that has a second head, where the flesh has all rotted off of the second head. The body of the dragon, the body of the dragon is curled up into a bizarre position, and its wings are outstretched, kind of awkwardly, almost like a dead bird. And you do find that in, we'll say, the cage over where I'm hovering. I didn't turn ping back on. Damn it. It's kind of over in this cage. You find that fairy dragon corpse.
Anver sighs. We should probably tell Thunderwing about the sprite and the dragon.
Lolly agrees.
Yeah.
So, Anvar goes, I think we have some bad news, unfortunately.
And Thunderwing looks at you kind of despondently, and she says, "What is it?"
Well, we found a dead sprite, and we found what we think might be a dead fairy dragon. And the fairy dragon's been changed.
Thunderwing just kind of closes her eyes for a few moments and looks back at you and says, "Okay, where's
So
my friends?"
Anvar will show her first the sprite. Did you know this one?
And she flutters over and looks and just kind of shakes her head and says, I don't even recognize. I don't. I mean, I might have, but I don't know what people's bones look like." She's saying this almost deadpan in a way.
Do you
It's a
recognize
little
the
unnerving.
clothes?
And she shakes her head again and says, "We can glamour them and change them all the time. I haven't really cared much."
Ah, makes sense. And then
That's a
he'll.
valid point. I never would have thought of that.
Neither did Anvar. Anvar then will take her over to where the fairy dragon is.
She'll flutter over and just, as she looks at the dragon in the cage, she just starts sniffling a little bit and says, "Oh, Bunny, I guess you're not. We're never gonna go home together. Mr. Dwarf, can you at least help me get him out? We can maybe take him back to the fairy ring. If I ever figure out how to go home, I'd at least like to take Bunny back with me. Like
Of course.
this, at least."
Is the cage actually locked, or?
It has a lock on it. It's more of like a wood and lichen vine thing kind of twisted around the cage. You're pretty sure you could just break it with a good hit from anything with a blade if you wanted to. You get the
Okay.
impression once things get tossed in these cages, they're not really able to get out on their own anyway.
Okay, well then he'll break the cage and get the dragon out. And he goes, "Do you want me to carry the body for now?"
Yeah, I don't think I can't lift him. I'm not big
Okay.
enough. I think the fairy
He'll take
dragon's
his.
like twice the size of Thunderwing.
He takes his blanket and gently wraps the body in the blanket, and then puts the blanket in his bag.
Okay. As you pull the corpse out in the blanket,
Mhm.
You get a sudden burst of imagery in your head. It kind of everybody else, you see Anvar just kind of stutter step for a few moments as he's lifting this wrapped up corpse out. You see Anvar, a very sickly and feverish looking elven woman with long blonde hair, standing, looking down, and you kind of realize that you're seeing a vision of someone looking down at Thunderwing. Like as you kind of look around in this vision, you see that you are Thunderwing,
Okay.
and you are screaming. And the woman, as you look around, you are in the middle of a runic circle, and the sickly looking elven woman is staring directly into your eyes. And then the vision breaks, and you're standing back here.
Okay. He's going to ask Teresa if he's going to describe the runic circle and ask Teresa if it means anything to her.
Repeat that question one more time.
He describes the runic circle that he saw in his vision, and a little bit of the what he's assuming is Xanthoria and the glare. And ask if the circle means anything to Teresa.
I will try to recall what I know about circle design, because I can make my own circles. Can I do an Arcana check, or
Yes.
is this like a history?
You can definitely Arcana check this one. So in your studies, I don't know if you've gotten this far, but in some of the more advanced necromancy tomes, there are circles used to bind or transfer souls. And assuming that this is necromancy magic that was happening in this vision, it reminds you of that sort of like a runic circle to try and do something soul related.
Well, there are certain spells that can take the soul from one body and transfer it into an object or another person. These are more advanced spells.
Well, it
And,
seems like Xanthoria did this to Thunderwing.
Now, I'm
And-
curious as to why she would want to experiment with all of these.
I think-
If she's trying to transfer her own soul, one would think that she would try to find the best suitable vessel for it.
I think Anbar and Teresa, you would both also find it rather odd to do soul magic on a fairy, because fairies don't have souls the way that mortals from the material plane do.
Yeah, that's what I was going for, because I'm like, in Teresa's mind, she's like, if you're trying to do transferring of souls, you probably don't want to experiment on a weak little fairy. Or an animal, for that matter. But out loud, she would say typically the more advanced necromancers would use specially prepared vessels. For in such cases of death, their soul will fly into that vessel and they arise as a new person in a new body.
So we have something else to worry about if when we finally get to deal with Xanthoria.
If she has achieved that level of necromancy, then yes. That I will be watching very closely for. So out of character, Teresa's going to be looking for anything that could serve as a I don't know if you're familiar with spell clone or soul jar.
I think I know Soul Jar. Isn't clone what Manchun uses all the time?
Yeah,
I
clone
think so.
is where you take a piece of flesh from the person that wants to be cloned. You spend 8 hours making the clone body. You have to store it into a specific vessel. So when the person dies,
Oh, I got it.
their
Okay,
soul goes
yep.
into the new body.
Yep. Okay. It's looking for
That's
evidence
not
of clone.
creepy.
It's a necromancy spell.
It grows an inert duplicate of a living creature. The clone forms inside a sealed vessel and grows to full size and maturity after 120 days. Oh, you can also choose to have the clone be a younger version of the same creature. That's bullshit.
Yeah.
Bullshit. Anyway, yeah, basically, and if you die, your soul
Tell us how you
transfers.
really feel.
You should have to do a different spell to look young again. Come on. Too easy. At least liches have good graces to just still be rotting undead things. Anyway.
That's because they're beyond caring about looks.
Yeah. Oh,
They all about the power, baby.
So Anvar's
Oh, it's
going
called
to look
Magic
at the
Jar
stone tables.
now.
All right.
Oh, so Magic... Magic Jar is the possess other people one. Okay. Magic Jar is weird.
Yeah.
I feel like it's either super powerful or a great way to get yourself killed. Anyway.
Yeah, that can be pretty broken if you use it correctly.
Okay, so you're looking for any evidence of either of those. Okay.
Yes.
Somebody else said something.
Anvar was going to take a look at the stone tables.
They are big, they are stone, and they are covered in. Basically, it looks like whatever ended up in the cages in here spent some time on these tables before it was discarded into a cage.
Oh,
I thought you were
lovely.
about to say they're big, they're stone, and they're tables.
No, I wasn't going to be that much of a jerk. The big stone tables are, in fact, big stone and tabular.
They're quite tabular, these tables.
Yeah. So they look like they were experimentation, or in a different setting, you'd call it an operating table, but I don't think here there was any goal to save lives, as it were.
Yeah. So
Lolly, and let's see, what is everybody's perception?
lab tables.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's the wait. Eyeball, 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 eyeball. Okay, I think. Wait, Anvar, how high is your perception? You got a baller perception too. Okay.
Yeah, my perception should be really good.
Oh no, it's not. Yes, it's you. Actually, yeah, Anvar, you notice tucked up against the wall over on the south east side of the room, there is a wooden staff leaning against the wall.
I'm going to, after I approach it and look at it, I'm going to mention it to the others. And ask, is it perhaps more than just a simple staff?
It is definitely an ornate wooden staff inscribed with vines and leaves.
Let me see this. I will. I'll take the risk. I will ritual cast Identify. So I will pick up the staff.
I am waiting to see if this will actually load. There we go. It is a Staff of the Woodlands.
Ooh.
You know what, though? Let me back up, because I forgot you can do this. So with familiars, you can cast touch spells through the familiar. So I will have Barry go up and touch the
Poor
staff.
Barry. Barry ascertains that it is a Staff of the Woodlands instead of you.
Staff of the Woodlands. Okay.
Can I link that? Does this work? Maybe. Hey, there we go. I think that worked. I think the main thing to note right now is it requires attunement by a druid, and I don't think we have a druid here right now.
Not at the
We
moment.
don't, but we will eventually.
Yes. So I'm gonna just go to party. Are you guys gonna take it?
I will take it and hold on to it.
Okay, I'm gonna
If
put it.
you don't, Anvar would.
Somebody's gonna take that staff. I'm just gonna dump it into your inventory, Teresa. There you go. So you should have a Staff of the Woodlands in your inventory.
Because in my other game, I have a druid with this, and this is pretty neat.
I have no idea what that does.
+2 bonus to spell attack rolls, and +2 bonus to attack and damage rolls made with it.
Oh,
And
wow.
it's got a whole bunch of spells that I can cast for charges.
Yeah.
It's got animal
The-
friendship, awaken, bark skin, locate animals or plants, speak with plants, wall of thorns. You can cast an action to use pass without trace from the staff without using charges, and you can turn into a tree.
Awaken is a really fun spell. I've abused this plenty of times.
Awaken turns non-sentient things sentient, right? That's awaken.
Yes.
Yeah. You guys met a bunch of awakened trees earlier.
Yep. So do we want to go out the passage? Do we want to go through the door? Which one do we want to cover first?
Yes. So as Teresa is coming down here, she can actually see further down the passage.
Can.
Oh, yeah.
What can you see?
Anvar could too.
Anvar can see everything because Anvar's.
Because I can see all the way to
Let's
the
also not
back.
forget there's the door up in this corner.
Yeah, that was what Anvar was asking about.
Okay. So yeah, Lolly doesn't really care which way we go, to be honest.
So, in this case here, have we tested the door to see if it's locked?
No.
We haven't. No.
At least let's check that first.
Excellent decision. Just feel like we've had not super great luck opening doors.
Well, to be fair, we haven't
Yeah.
had super great luck with anything.
I wish that I have the lock spell that opens all doors, even magically sealed doors.
Yeah, the only problem with it is it gives away that you're there.
Yes.
Since
What with the
Can somebody
knocking?
do an Arcana check on this one before I try to like open it up?
You want to check for traps first?
Yeah, all that good stuff.
I was saying, you want to do an investigation and check for traps, or should I?
Maybe Lolly should do an investigation check since he's real good at that.
Why don't we can both do an investigation check?
Yeah. So
Y'all are staring
y'all
at this
can
door like
give yourself.
motherfuckers.
Okay.
I mean, I literally can't roll less than a 20, so when I say Lolly's good at it, he's like real good at it.
You all deeply and intensely study this wooden door, and it
Except for
appears to
Anvar,
be
who's just...
It appears to be a wooden door.
That is extra super not trapped.
I'm gonna try and open it.
You can just hit the button. Hey, it opens. There's a hallway that extends, or a cavern, I should say. A very long tunnel, like a waft of rot and the smell of decomposition come out of this tunnel. You can see most of those big mushrooms are corpses, partially engulfed in fungus.
Wow, this goes pretty far.
And it extends back quite a ways.
Oh, I can see all the way over here.
Does it seem like it's going down at an angle? Like maybe it's descending?
I mean, the floor is uneven, but it doesn't. For those that can see, it just kind of extends roughly level. However far it is that goes.
It's at least 160 something feet.
Let's see here. Let me get a ruler. How far can Anvar see?
300 feet in dark vision.
160 feet is how far you can see at that wall. Approximately.
Just over half his distance.
I don't know if you can really tell if it's exactly 160 feet.
No. I would assume not. So
It's-
Anvar is going to very carefully start his way down the corridor.
Let's see, you guys did that. Okay. Yeah, as you walk through here, you're basically walking through a fungal graveyard of humanoids, animals, and some things that at this point you cannot recognize.
Anvar will mention that he thinks there's things back here that may not be friendly.
Oh. That's not supposed to be visible. God damn it.
Oh, well, cancel that transmission out. He doesn't know anything
Sorry.
yet.
You can hear somebody in the room beyond. You hear faint sounds from the room beyond. And you can see as you're coming around that corner, it looks like this cavern opens up into a much taller chamber beyond. Everything at this point is kind of dimly lit by a riot of phosphorescent fungus. And as if you try to get around the corner to kind of get a clearer view, there's a central rock spire rising up to the ceiling of the cavern.
Oh, interesting.
There is what can only be described as a creature furiously working on what appears to be a corpse of some sort of animal. And it looks like they are cutting or butchering or vivisecting something on the table in front of it.
Oh, that's not good. I will
And you
go back and quickly relay that to the other people before I blow the whole gig.
Wait, Ray, can you repeat that last part?
which I'm the table or which part?
What the creature was doing with on the table.
Something that was involving lots of blood. You assume that the creature hunched over the table was cutting up or vivisecting what looked like some sort of animal corpse on the table.
Oh boy.
Yummy.
As you get all the way around the corner, you can also see there is a cage, kind of maybe 10 feet away from the table against the far wall. There's a small boy in the cage who's just kind of listlessly sitting there, trying to see what the creature on the table is doing. And I guess nobody made any stealth checks, so the boy notices you guys and says, "Oh, Xanthoria, there's somebody here." And Xanthoria, you assume, she turns up from her work, and as she turns, the child in the cage twitches and crumples to the floor of the cage. And Xanthoria turns to look at all of you, and you see a creature that looks like this.
Oh, lovely.
There's kind of a human skeleton inside what now appears to be, or a humanoid skeleton inside all of that. Folds of fungus kind of mimic a dress, and this creature that you assume is or was Xanthoria gives what you think might be a smirk at you all, and kind of looks at all of you and says, "Welcome to the lair." And then she turns back to continue her work on the creature in front of her.
Oh man, Lolly wants to nope out of there so fucking fast.
Interesting. I want to see if this is a lich. So, what's a good roll for that? Or alternatively, I want to look, just do a quick glance around the room and look for a phylactery.
You can certainly investigate the room. The creature at the table is aware of you all and will occasionally look up uh, and watch you as you come into the room. Um, but she is deeply engrossed in whatever it is she is doing with the. As you get closer, Anbar, you can tell this was once a deer. Uh, there's various knives and cutting implements made out of bone on the table. It looks like Xanthoria is busily carving into the cavity of this creature, trying to do something.
All right, so I will first check to see if this is a lich. Just going based off of her knowledge of necromancy and potential liches.
I mean, she's not a lich, but she doesn't. If this is Xanthoria, you know she used to be an elf woman. Um, so assuming that this is Xanthoria, something has fundamentally changed about her. That said, I don't think you have ever encountered anything in your readings beyond Xanthoria's own journals that would indicate whatever she is. But yeah, she's not a lich, but she's also not anything like any description of a lich you've seen before. Usually, they don't have such an intense transformation, if that makes sense.
Okay, then plan B, I will do an investigation by looking around the room to see if there's anything that might stand out as potential jar or holding thing, like something that would hold in the soul.
Anvar, meanwhile, will try and act as a distraction by asking her, "So what are you doing?"
Uh,
Nice roll.
Oh,
no. So you find I'm gonna go through what you find first, and then kind of do the discussion, Anvar. So you find it looks like all of the accoutrement that Xanthoria has is basically clustered around her table in the cage. The table has a bunch of basically surgical instruments and some uh, alchemical items. It looks like there's a variety of things you don't really recognize. Most of it looks like it's druidic in nature, kind of outside of your wheelhouse. None of it screams phylactery to you, or whatever term we're using now. I'm just gonna go with phylactery because I'm so used to that one. The cage that the now it looks like unconscious or dead child is in has a few haphazardly carved toys and a bowl of food and a cup of water next to it. Uh, Beyond that, there is not much in this cave besides the mushroom corpses. Doesn't look like there's a whole lot of anything in here besides the corpse, the tools, the boy in the cage. So, like I said, nothing that screams phylactery to you. You do notice that Thunderwing did not follow you guys in here. She has been trailing behind you. But as you search the room, you are aware that Thunderwing has kind of been hanging out by Anvar for most of this time, and she has not followed you in. Anvar, as Teresa is looking around when you ask Xanthoria what she's doing, she pauses and looks up from, I guess, her work and says, "This, I think I have a way to do it without all of the mutations this time, but I have to get just the right part of the heart and the aorta, I think. I've got to get in there. Welcome. It's a rather delicate moment, if you don't mind. Then she just turns back and kind of continues digging around inside the corpse of this deer.
Teresa will say, if you're removing the heart, you should make sure to be more delicate around the filament around the heart.
She looks
Cut
back
those
and
out first, and then start your way up from the top.
Xanthoria looks back and you think she smiles at you, and she says, not removing, not removing. I just have to put some of this next to the right place. Do you want to assist with the operation?
Unfortunately, I'm unaware of what exactly you're doing. I'm running under the assumption that you are building a flesh golem from an animal.
It's close enough. Come here, come here. And she takes one gore-covered hand and waves you over.
Teresa will actually stride over there to get a closer look.
So
Amber
she's...
has a bad feeling about this at this point.
So Xanthoria, looking, just kind of looks at you, cocks her head to the side, and says, "Oh, shorter than I thought you were, but still doesn't matter." And then she turns back to the deer, and you can see that she's kind of vivisected the rib cage open, and Xanthoria, with both of her hands, just kind of pulls the rib cage apart and kind of splays it open with a tool on the table, and slightly lifts the heart up and says, "Here, you hold this. More hands are better. You hold that heart for me, and I'll show you what I'm trying to do."
I will have Barry grab the heart and hover over it.
And Xanthoria watches this and goes, "Oh, I forgot about that. That'll be next. More of those. Thank you." And she, as you're doing this, she reaches in and kind of moves some tissue around, and then reaches kind of into the slightly glowing, for lack of a better term, mane around the base of her skull, and plucks a nodule of fungus off, and implants it next to the heart, and then says, "Cat, go away," and just kind of waves your cat off, and removes her hands from the corpse of the deer. And
Barry hisses.
she reaches back out, and the deer suddenly jerks and twitches a few times, and appears to almost start to stand up, and then strains itself so hard that the multiple bones in it break, and it falls lifeless again to the table. And Xanthoria just sighs and says, "I have to refine it."
Perhaps the skeletal structure is too compromised. Have you considered replacing it?
She gestures around at all of the fungus in, and as you're realizing, all of these mushrooms are, again, other creatures that are slowly being overgrown. She gestures around and says, "I've tried many things. Same bodies, different bodies. Still not there." And then she kind of seems to acknowledge, Anvar, that you're there again. And says, dwarf, hello."
Greetings.
She
It's a very flat greeting from Anvar.
The rest of you, are you peeking around the corner?
Everybody else is scared.
Yeah, I'm deeply uncomfortable with this.
What are you inciting, Lolly?
I want to know if she seems hostile or just like not all there, or if she's amused by it. Like, what is she feeling towards us?
From what you can tell, especially as you guys round the corner, I'll kind of answer and give her response as well at the same time. So as Gibbles and Lolly, as you guys come around the corner, Xanthoria says, welcome. I You have all done good work helping accelerate the cleaning of the outer chambers. I have to thank you for that. Saves some trouble. The worm will be hungry, but that's the worm's problem. But welcome. What brings you to my chambers? Usually, I have to find friends or subjects. And Lolly, you get the impression that she is mostly just interested in why you are all here. She hasn't done anything outwardly hostile and is not making any hostile. You're not sensing any hostility off of her. Just kind of, y'all interrupted her in the middle of her experiment and that failed, so now she's focusing on all of you.
Okay. Yeah, Lolly's definitely going to stay about where he is, though.
I don't know about the others, but I am rather interested in what your work entails. We have come across some samples, which I believe were failures.
Sorry, my brain just stopped for a second. Can you repeat that?
Yeah, so Teresa said, I'm fascinated with what you are trying to do. I believe we have come across some of your samples, which have the appearance of failed experimentation.
So Xanthoria gestures around and says, the fungus always grows. It never dies, and life always dies. There has to be a way to bring them together. I'm almost there. And she kind of strokes down the side of her body. Says, almost there, but not complete, and this gift should be for everyone. No one should die. Everyone should be forever.
A gift, you say? Can you tell me more?
How many days is a fair lifetime?
That depends on who you ask. Elves can live for centuries, but with the right amount of magic and the right amount of gumption, you can live for thousands of years if you want to.
And she smirks at that and says, still too small. Everyone, forever. That is the goal.
Is that what you're doing with the lady who lives above?
She was nice. I thought she and I shared similar. We both followed Sylvanus, or well, she still follows Sylvanus. I've left that path, but if my form could sustain or endure through the transformation, I'm hoping she can too. She probably is not happy now, but once she accepts the gift, she will see that this is the right way.
And
Yeah. You need a second?
No,
What
no, no.
happens if she doesn't accept the gift?
Sad, but if she doesn't accept it, we will learn more about how to make sure that you have to accept the gift in the future. And she gestures around at all of the moldering corpses and says, it is not, these are not the goal, but to get to the goal, to the gift, I may have to, this will keep happening until we get it right.
Therese is just examining the mushroom corpses.
They're all, the ones that you look at are all basically either like the deer or like the creatures outside. They have, you gather that Xanthoria has been trying different ways to fuse fungal growth with these creatures, and it keeps just not quite working. Xanthoria so far seems to be the most successful result of her experimentation.
What's with the boy in the cage?
Corpse.
The boy, a sacrifice for protection. Hopefully, maybe bring him back, maybe not. But must not interrupt the work. And I don't know all of you.
Using a corpse as an alarm. That's interesting. Keep that in mind. Now, can you tell us more about where this gift comes from?
The the gift, yes. Well, part of it is the understanding the gifts of Sylvanas, but also Zugdmoy, she also knows. She sees the whole world, and we will help join her view, her perfect unity of form with the individuality of the natural life.
If I recall, Zugtmoy is a demon lord. That's very odd to serve both a god of the natural world and a demon lord.
And Xanthoria just kind of looks puzzled for a minute and says, but if Sylvanas gives the individual life and Zugdmoy gives the life to all, these are just two sides of the same goal. I will bring them together, and I will give that gift to everyone. It
While your
seems like,
motive is sound, your method appears to be flawed.
and she bristles a little bit at this and says, and you wizard, was your first spell as powerful as what you can do now?
No, of course not. That's why I seek more power from different sources. And not. It is insanity to do the same thing and expect a different result.
Eh, each experiment is different. You just don't see it yet. You know, you could help me. You have different magics. I am a dabbler in the arcane. You could join me. We could work together.
I am afraid that my goals towards immortality and beyond do not cross with yours. I don't like the idea of serving some demon lord.
And Xanthoria gives... Go ahead. Or was I just echoing on myself there?
I think you were just echoing on yourself.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Xanthoria kind of shrugs at that and says, your own path then. I am going to continue the work. If you'll excuse me. And she moves over to the cage next to you, Anvar, and she bends over, opening the cage, and starts lifting the body of the boy out of the cage and dragging it over to the table.
Is Anvar pretty convinced that the boy is dead at this point?
He looks quite dead. Yeah, it looks like whatever happened to him, it looks like something killed him. You'd have to probably get in Xanthoria's way and investigate to figure out an exact cause of death, but as you've been standing over there, the child has not been breathing.
Okay. Well, the only reason I ask is Anvar was going to jump the gun if he was still alive.
No. The assuming the child was alive, it died when whatever happened to it happened to it. Lolly, what were you asking?
Oh, I was just saying, dead or mostly dead?
Mostly dead. Oh yeah, like the body is slack in the way that only corpses tend to be. When she picks it up, and she kind of thuds it onto the table, and then just pulls back and just seems to be staring intently at the corpse, thinking.
Anvar at this point is waiting for a high sign in the group that this is at the end of what it's going to be. I suppose he did actually see what he wanted, though, so he'll go back to being in front of the others.
Lolly's gonna ask Xanthoria if she thinks that everyone. Do you, Xanthoria, think that everyone wants the gift that you are giving them? I know it is a great treasure, but some may not want it.
She turns and looks to you and again kind of cocks her head to a side. She doesn't really have expressions like normal people have anymore. And just says, the beauty of the gift is once I perfect it and I can share it with everyone, there'll be no reason to not want it. These are all unfortunate missteps on the path to the full gift. I am, and she gestures at herself, I am closer, but not. I am not perfected yet. I've solved for immortality, but I don't think that the beauty was retained. Once I perfect the gift, everyone will want it.
Until it is ready, perhaps we hold off on giving it to others, such as your compatriot above, whom you so graciously gave the gift. If she isn't happy, maybe we just wait until she can appreciate your greatness.
And Xanthoria looks at you kind of puzzled and says, But why would somebody not want? Why would she not want it? She's a follower of... And she just kind of trails off, kind of confused. I don't...
Well, as we have decided that, or as we had spoken, that perhaps it's not yet. Of course, she'll want your gift. Who wouldn't? But if it isn't ready, maybe we ask her to come and help you. Perhaps she could be an asset to you.
Make a persuasion roll. So Xanthoria looks and says, she did not want it. But she did give me shelter after I was trying to find another home. Are you certain she does not want the gift right now?
I am not certain, but if I go and ask, would you be willing to free her for the time and until, of course, your gift is ready? I have no question in my mind that she would enjoy and would revel in your gift, but only once it is fully prepared. Which, as I said before, perhaps she can help you with. She did help you find this home, did she not?
And Xanthoria thinks about this for a bit, and then looks at you and looks at the boy. She turns and mutters something and makes a few gestures. I think Teresa in a language that you half recognize. It seems like some distorted magical cant. And she summons into the room a creature, which she speaks to. Does anybody here speak Abyssal?
No, I
Anvar
speak
should, in theory,
infernal.
should in theory be speaking everything with the helm.
Yes.
I don't
So
think I
this
have it actually taking effect, but it should be.
isn't it
always
in effect, basically? Yeah. Okay. So you
Yeah.
hear her command this creature that she has summoned. It's kind of like a giant pig thing with wings.
Oh, an elfish she.
She Anvar, you hear her instruct this creature to watch over her test subject in the cavern as she has business to attend to elsewhere, and to not allow anyone or anything except Xanthoria to enter this lair without her permission after she leaves. And then Xanthoria, as soon as she's delivered that message, she begins kind of gliding. It looks like her dress and legs kind of work together, and she just walks past all of you, unless you do anything to stop her.
Anvar will relay what the instruction to the creature was.
Lolly will just follow to see if she goes to free her host.
Yeah, she's basically she as she passes, she says, "We will talk to her. I will ask her if she does not want this gift now." Gonna make me find a different math. Map. I have to. Go ahead.
Sorry. Since the group is right next to her, it's kind of hard to talk to them. Because Teresa knows that demons don't follow orders unless you force them to. So,
Well, Anvar's running theory, not that he'll say it out loud at this point, would be that who's ordering who.
yeah, that's why she said that this thing is a slave to demons. And Teresa's like, no, my soul is mine. I'm nobody's slave.
Yeah. You've been around Anvar just enough to know that he's willing to jump the gun, but he was sort of waiting to see how it played out before he forced everybody's hand.
Yeah, so the goal of my conversation was to try to get her to explain what the hell is this stuff. So now that we have her at least being neutral to us, let's see what we can do to try and take her out.
That's my whole plan is to convince her to be our friend, and then see what happens.
Sure, just long enough for me to learn her secrets and take it for myself.
Well, so what
It'd be
she's gonna,
useful if she got,
you guys can have a bit of a powwow. What's gonna happen is she is going to, basically just stride out and up to the floor above. So you've probably got about a minute to decide what move you want to make. I'm gonna let you guys talk about that for a second, and I'll be right back.
So Teresa, when she sees something that's interesting and it involves necromancy, she's gonna try and take it for herself. So that's why she's trying to figure out, where does this power come from? Oh, right, it comes from Zagmoti. Oh yeah, that's a
this,
demon lord.
that's the end of that line.
Yeah, it's the end of that.
Anvar thinks this is all an abomination, but if she's willing to undo her spell on the host beforehand, it increases the chances that that the party will be able to undo that, and two, it might give a chance to restore that fairy ring for Thunder Wave, whatever it is, to go back home.
Yeah, that's why
apart from
go ahead.
yeah. Apart from that, he completely thinks she's an abomination, needs to be put down.
Yeah, so Lolly definitely thinks that she's a nightmare, but he's trying to save the host of the tower, or the owner of the tower, before this monstrosity dies or is taken out or is otherwise unable to release her.
I agree.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
Gibbles is of the same mindset, but Gibbles is also just the talk of necromancy and being in a dark place again is reminding him of being trapped for 200 years, and so he's deeply, deeply, deeply unhappy with everything that's happening right now.
Well,
like, no.
technically, Gibbles knows that Teresa's a necromancer, but Lolly and Anvar don't know because you two haven't seen her cast any necromancy specific spells.
Right.
No.
You did in the villa.
Yeah, Anvar didn't witness that though. So
Yeah,
Anvar is
I
told
did. I raised some undead.
Yeah, Lolly
Yeah.
definitely saw that.
Yeah.
Lolly
so-
doesn't really have a particular bend on good or evil though. Unless it's criminal. Criminal is a problem. But good and evil, as long as you're not breaking laws, he doesn't care about. It's a very fine line.
Teresa is still lawful evil.
Yeah. Anvar is pretty solidly in the camp of help others. So but there are multiple ways to accomplish that, and he's willing to concede that. But if it involves stripping people of free will, that's a problem.
I think we all agree that this lady's gotta go. But I think getting our tower host free first, which is what our initial goal was coming down here.
Right.
Once we got into the tower. I mean, obviously the whole goal was to talk to Xanthoria and figure out what the fuck the fungus is, but now we know that that's her quote unquote gift. So it's okay, well, if that's your shitty ass gift, we need to smoke you.
Yeah.
Hey, she's doing okay.
Yeah, it's just everybody else.
Is she?
She thinks she is.
So now we know that she's been. Now the curious thing is that how did she get into that noble's tomb to cast her little demon mold on the corpses in there?
You mean how did it get up to the City of the Dead?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we need to figure that out too, because once we get the post of the tower out, then we can be like, how is it that you're sharing your gift? And I don't know, I'll figure that out. But I think that's a question we need to ask.
Yeah. I mean, we saw her take something off of her body and put it into the corpse. So I think that's the method, but how did it get up there is the question.
Yep.
So we follow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
we follow.
Okay. Let's see if I can do this right. Actually, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to try and make this transition not terrible. There we go. Have I got everybody here? Where is Gibbles? Gibbles. You know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to do this real quick. This seems like a better way to do it. Lolly. Teresa. Who am I missing? Anvar. Okay, now let's go. Alright, these maps are so big, I'm trying to make sure when I switch the screen, you guys are actually focused on where I have you. Okay, let's see if this works. Activate.
Activate.
Well, that zoomed in on the wrong person, maybe.
Or at least around where.
Did you guys show up in the bottom of the tower area?
Yeah,
Yeah.
by the area where the stairs go up and down.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay,
right here.
good. I did it right. Sorry, my token went. My screen that I record on went to the guy who's not here. Okay, cool. No, the
I'm kidding. I'm totally kidding.
Robert Paladinson.
The 9th, who is now the 7th. Yeah,
Yeah, I was kind of hoping to see where that went. Anyway, I was like,
I was kind of curious too.
I'm kind of ready for this just like recurring bit where his name is never the same. So Xanthoria heads up and walks into the room. The displacer beast. I guess, are you guys following her directly?
Yeah. Well, Anvar
Okay.
is.
I'm a little distance behind.
Yeah. So Xanthoria will glare at the displacer beast, which it growls at her and then kind of shies away, almost one predator recognizing another one that is stronger. And then Xanthoria stands in front of Willow, who I guess I could make her name always visible, couldn't I? Always for everyone. Update. There we go. And Willow is still stuck to the throne, probably her throne, by a few of these tendrils, nowhere near as embedded as the people down below. And I'm going to do a little Deus Ex Machina here and take control of Liz's character for the moment. Because I think this
Probably
will
a good idea.
And Xanthoria will just stare at Willow for a moment and say, "Your visitors have told me that I perhaps gave my gift to you too quickly, Willow. Do you desire this gift?" And Willow weakly raises her head and says, "Just make it stop. This is... no." And Xanthoria sighs and kind of roots down into the ground almost. Like her whole frame settles down, and the tendrils that are going into Willow start pulling out. And this is not a pleasant experience for Willow at all. She kind of groans and gasps as these things come out of her. And I think I'm going to have Liz come up and actually do the thing that she hates doing and
kill someone.
And heal Willow.
Healing.
Because it looks like the removal of these tendrils is leaving some pretty gaping wounds all over Willow's body. Not quite to the extent of some of the others, but still probably very deadly if not treated. So Liz is going to expend an arbitrary amount of healing that I'll figure out later to at least stabilize Willow. As this is happening, Xanthoria says, I must return to my work. We will have to discuss this in the future, Willow. I apologize if I have offended you. And she just then heads right back down into her lair below Willow's castle, unless anybody does anything.
Lolly will say, thank you, that was kind of you.
And Xanthoria kind of cocks her head oddly at this as she passes you and says, I must return to the work. And she heads back down into her tunnel. And at this point, I think Liz is just doing everything she can to stabilize Willow. Willow, after this process of having these tendrils removed from her, is unconscious and basically fighting for life. And I think
Could
that's
the channel divinity ability of Anvar's give her temporary hit points to help her regain consciousness?
I think between the two of you, you can get her stable, but it's going to take some time and probably some monitoring to see if you guys can keep her going. So the tendrils that were in her have withdrawn, and they're lying around the throne now. They're kind of withering very rapidly. Some of these tendrils were an inch or two thick and were burrowed deep in her body. So this is one of those situations where she's going to need... we're going to break the normal long rest heals you of all ills scenario. She's going to need some time to recover from this. She's going to need some bed rest. These are grievous supernatural injuries to her that she's... the two of you can stabilize her, but she's probably not waking up for at least a day or two.
Okay. Well, Anvar will do whatever it takes.
And gonna make me get gonna make me get a different book out. Hold on. I didn't anticipate the save you approach.
Anvar also does have greater restoration.
Well, I'm just trying to figure out. Sorry, there are floors above this. I'm trying to figure something out. I think I might just make this up as I go and retcon it if I need to in the future. Does the map have anything useful? Of course not.
Of course not.
I'm gonna say what happens here is the Displacer Beast that has been sitting here watching all of this kind of makes a low... Wait a minute. Nope, they don't have a language. Okay. The Displacer Beast is gonna kind of make a low, non-hostile, growling, mewling sound and walk over towards the door over here. And push it open and kind of look back at all of you.
Anvar will lift up Willow and start heading that direction.
Let's see if this works. Hey, it does work. Cool. If you walk onto the top of the stairs, it should teleport you to the next floor up.
I don't
Oops.
know where Lolly is.
Can you not see Lolly?
No.
Where?
I had Liz selected, that's why.
Okay. Dang it, I closed that book and now I'm going to open it again. Floor 6. So
Ooh,
many.
look at that little fancy flash thing.
It is floor 5. Did the teleport actually work for everybody?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Last time we tried this, it did not work.
What is the name of that mod that does that?
I'll have to look it up. I have like 100 mods going. I know this pack had a bunch. So I will look it up and let you know once I figure it out. That's okay with you. So you come up to a room here that is completely covered in frescoes. They're all frescoes depicting an elven kingdom. And the Displacer Beast is going to take you through, kind of watching you follow to the room beyond. This is a balcony overlooking the throne room. And will move into a room beyond. I'm going to call this Willow's Bedchambers. Because, yeah.
She can.
I mean, she doesn't really
We
need to
don't
sleep.
get real fun tonight. Mm.
Well, she's an elf, so she doesn't really have to sleep per se, but this is like her meditation room.
Yeah, for change.
And there's a meditation spot kind of against the far wall in here.
Okay. Anvar will put her there
Yeah.
as gently as we can.
And just to describe it, there's a stairwell going further up, a door down to the south, and the Displacer Beast just kind of curls up next to Willow. Kind of sadly, just like the beast seems grateful that you've helped, but is also very protective of Willow, and is just kind of.
Liz could actually talk to it, probably, with either the staff or the spell.
Ingrid said it doesn't have language.
Yeah, but she's got speak with animals.
Yeah, she's got that. Do Displacer Beasts actually have a language? I'm curious now. I have to. Where did I put the monster? Because I feel like they're smart enough.
I think that
They can understand you, but they just can't speak.
Yeah. I don't think they can. I'm just curious now. It's always good when the DM doesn't know what the hell's going on. How is Displacer Beast not? Oh, because dragons come after Displacer. A lot of pages on dragons, man.
So they don't have a language, but they have an intelligence of 6.
Yeah, I mean, they're not dumb.
They're actually significantly smarter than a normal animal.
Yeah. Yeah, I also note, who has the highest perception? I think it's Anvar, right? Like, quite a long ways.
Seems likely, but I don't know.
You'll also notice Thunderwing did not follow you guys outside of the lair down below. Thunderwing.
What was Thunderwing's reaction when she saw we were following Xanthoria?
Thunderwing's general reaction to almost everything is just resigned acceptance at this point.
Okay.
Like she responds when you talk to her, but she doesn't really do a whole lot. Like to a degree that's rather disconcerting. Like if anything, it's almost like she's incredibly depressed or has some sort of trauma disorder.
Well, given the vision I saw, it'd be easy enough to believe that she's one of the alarm bells for Xanthoria.
Yeah, I think the displacer beast. Assuming Liz tries to talk to it, the displacer beast would talk through animals. Will just convey that it's thankful that you've helped Willow, and uh, the displacer beast has a name. It's Chrisen.
Displacer Beast 1.
Displacer beast 1. I'll type it in chat. There we go. There's Chrisan's name is Chrisan. Chrisan. And the displacer Chrisan is just going to stay with Willow and make sure that Xanthoria doesn't do anything else to her, and try to do what it can to help her. So it's thankful, as much as a displacer beast can be thankful. It's a weird concept. Let's get Willow up here. And like I said, I think Willow is stable, but kind of recovering. You guys might be able to help her out over a period of time, but at least right now it looks like you've gotten her as far as you can get her.
Okay. And I don't think greater restoration will help speed up her recovery.
It might. I think it's still going to take days. You might be looking at the difference between a week or a couple of days. Just because it's, like I said, she's having to heal massive holes through her body.
Right. So Anvar will say that he's got it as an option, but maybe we need to see how much we have left after we deal with Xanthoria in a more fitting fashion.
The elf has been stabilized. We need to deal with the more immediate threat. I'm sure you don't want to see more demons summoned in that cave.
No.
Especially strong demons that can summon more demons if given the chance. So if we are going to make the decision to cut her off, then we need to do it with haste.
Yep. We certainly don't want her getting further in her experiments.
I think we can all agree on that.
So is your plan to go after Xanthoria next?
Yes.
Question, because I think Owen is, or my brother is going to pass out. Do you guys want to pick that fight right now, or do you want to see if we have everybody here next week to pick that fight?
I think we should have everybody here.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
big boss fight should probably be next.
Probably not a terrible idea.
It's like, because y'all gonna die.
Because like I said to the Saturday group last week, they said, can we play with 3? And I said, I can kill you if there's 3 of you.
Can you play with 3? Yes.
Yes.
Will you
I
live
don't
with 3?
know.
Probably not.
Yeah,
I forgot to do my daily false life, so do that real quick here.
I think Hero's Feast will supplant that because it had 7.
Yeah.
But
Although
if you lose,
That's temp hip. Hero's Feast gives increases your max. So I have 7 or 6 temp HP.
Okay.
7
6 temp and
increase the
7
maximum.
max. Okay. Sorry.
right.
Yep.
So Anvar will say, as we're heading back down, he's planning to use that ability he used in the fight with the here. So within 30 feet of him, will get a boost of hit points.
Excellent.
But
I
you
will
should
stay
be aware that
30 feet away.
yeah, well, then that's exactly it, right? Xanthoria probably has area effect spells, so we're not going to want to stand too close to each other.
Right, and the demons, depending on what demons she might have access to, they hit like a truck.
Yeah.
I will give a little more information because I was kind of jumping around a little bit and reacting to a different way of everything going than I thought. So when that demon was summoned, Teresa, you did notice that it was also encrusted in mold and lichen, uh, in a way that you haven't seen. So yeah, you did recognize it as an Alfonsi, but it looked like definitely a different type of Nalfanshi than you had usually read about in any tomes that you've seen. If you had to
Yeah, so
guess,
it's one.
Yeah.
Yeah, one that's in service of Zugmati. Great.
Yeah, makes sense.
Why couldn't it be a follower of Grazit?
Well, you
At least
see,
we can
that
talk
would
to
be
them.
too easy.
I did see the Circle of the Spore comment, but
Yeah.
I still hold that every Circle of the Spore druid is just a warlock of Zugmoy, and you cannot
Yeah.
convince me otherwise.
It's just
Yeah.
a druid cosplaying as a warlock.
Yeah, because canonically, all fungus in the world is the domain of Zugmoy. I don't know if anybody besides Zugmoy knows that, but it's a fun piece of one version of the
It's got to
lore.
make life interesting in the Underdark.
I mean, it really begs the question if Zugmoy is literally the thing that powers all fungus and mold and lichen in the world. Is she really a demon lord?
No, she's more powerful than Orcus, if that's
Yeah,
really the
she's
case.
she's basically like a top tier god. But
Yeah.
whatever, it's Forgotten Realms lore. Who cares? Demon lord, god, whatever.
You know,
Anyway,
tomato, potato.
yep. So do you guys want to do anything else up here before you go back down? I guess, is there anything else you want to do up here tonight before I say let's call it so that we can see if everybody's here for next week? Because we got a little bit of time, or I can wrap it.
I guess Anvar would ask on the way back down to Halistry. I
Yeah.
think that was what the Waken Tree was.
Yes.
Any tips
Halistry.
for how to deal with Xanthoria to end the problem she's creating?
Halistry will comment. I am loath to say this, but trees and plants usually abhor fire. Um, you would consider burning out the root of the problem, as it were, and he just kind of chuckles to himself.
Oh, plant puns from a tree. Excellent.
Oh, our day's not complete unless we had something like this.
Sorry, I didn't plan out my Halistry puns completely before this. That's just spur of the moment punning for you.
Yeah, it's fine.
And Halistry, you also get the impression, Anvar, that Halistry is a dutiful servant, but maybe not the brightest oak in the grove, if you will. Krisan has demonstrated in his limited set of actions to be a far more independent actor than Halistry. During this whole time, Halistry was just kind of standing, watching everything happen.
I'm guessing, given our group's conversation, the Displacer Beast knows that we're planning to go after Xanthoria at this point.
Oh, it wishes you good hunting, but it is loath to leave Willow unattended.
Understandable.
It would join you, but its allegiance is to its master, not to all of you, despite the help you have given.
Completely understandable. So I don't know. Hanvar doesn't have anything else in particular.
Yeah. Lolly doesn't really have anything else either. Like, anyone he could convince to help us, either one, doesn't speak the same language, or two, is knocked the fuck out for a week. So
What about that dragon?
I don't think the dragon will fit. That's a great idea. I like the idea. But yeah, I don't know if the dragon will fit into the dungeon.
Yeah, that's true.
But I like where your head's at.
The dragon seemed interested in being friendly, although that could easily turn against us.
This is true. We could pull the sword out of its brain and it could be like, now I kill everyone.
Yeah. Or it could be you pull the sword out and it becomes a halfling.
Oh man, wouldn't that be funny?
That was actually the first thought I thought of when I saw the sword. I was like, oh yeah, something that's not really a dragon.
Grim's over here like, no.
I mean, do you want to go talk to the dragon?
No, I think we should just, or I mean, the dragon. I genuinely don't think the dragon's gonna fit in the fucking dungeon. So I think that's just a dead end for this particular thing.
Yeah, I mean, the only reason to talk to the dungeon would be if to find out if the dragon's aware of Xanthoria and if he's got any input on it. I mean, I'm assuming it's not going to be interested in joining at all. And it seemed friendly with the paladin we've only interacted with once. So,
The dragon is a large creature.
so it would fit.
Oh yeah, it would fit.
Maybe
Ooh,
not
having a
easily through the
dragon
hallway.
That actually, I kind of want to. I think we could. I think. Well, let me rephrase it. I think I could convince it.
Anvar couldn't, but
Just to give you a little insight, I built my character specifically to be able to, well, the idea that I came up with was sell a refrigerator to an Eskimo in the middle of the winter.
Let's just see here. You have a plus 13 to deception, a plus 12 to insight, a plus 13 to performance, and a plus 13 to persuasion. I think I know what you're good at.
So Grim, there's also the other part that you didn't mention, which is that I cannot roll less than a 10 on any of those. Any roll that is under a 10 is treated as a 10.
that's
so I literally, my worst roll is like a 20.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, if we have the time, I mean, if you think it would prove fruitful, I mean, we can at least talk to the dragon and see what it says about Xanthoria.
I mean, I'm just over here like, dragon with fire and moss
it was
lady.
green. It was green, right? So it's gonna be acid, probably.
Acid or acid
true.
or poison.
Oh yeah, it might be poison.
Green.
I can't remember.
Yeah, green is poison. Black is acid.
Yeah, black was acid.
It was a green dragon.
But if it's been on this level for a while, it probably knows some what's going on.
Sadly, I think the only one who knows what the dragon knows is not here. Well, not that he had a huge amount of info about the dragon.
Yeah.
It's kind of a spur of the moment. Hey, I have an idea to got your character in here. You want to be having a philosophical discourse with a green dragon? Sure. Okay. Is the location for that down 9? This is what happens when you combine modules into each other. Craziness.
Yeah. You probably don't need to warp us to it though.
I mean, do you want to? I'm getting you to the dragon is not hard. Do you guys want to go talk to the dragon?
Monk active tile triggers.
Teresa, that's the module.
Oh.
Monk's active tile triggers. So this map of Undermountain I got from a dude called Cyrene, I think. It's a whole module. Jesper Siren. And it's all like implemented and ready to go. So the nice thing for me is it's the entire map of Undermountain, and I just have to review the floors before I run them, as opposed to like. Sad thing is, I'd actually made half the maps to Undermountain myself, and then I found this, and I was like, "That's better. I'll use that." The tribulations of DMing.
That's usually how it works.
Beg, borrow, and steal everything. You out, Teresa?
Yeah, I'm gonna head to bed here.
Okay. Have a good night.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night.